David, and everybody else. Thank you all for your wonderful readings. I always enjoy hearing your work. David, thank you for inviting me. And to my friends and family, thanks for being here also tonight. So I have some slides, and the work presented in them is some paintings and photographs of mine, but for three. There's two paintings by Anselm Kiefer, his paintings that are in Bilbao in the Guggenheim, and one mural. I took a picture of it, I think it was 42nd Street in New York. So they'll be up for all to see, hopefully, if the slides work. So the first piece I was going to read is a flash fiction piece, and it was shortlisted for a competition in Greece and was published by Islands Press in 2019. So I'm just going to share now and see if these slides work.
If you haven't done it before, you know, the share screen button is at the bottom middle. And then once you choose to share your screen, then you go over, hey, there you go. Okay, I'm redundant.
Great. Thanks, David. So this is called Red. The promise of a blue sky descends on another day. Vixen settles her snout within folds of fur, watches the chests of her 4 redheads rise and fall. Her tail envelops every breath, a white-tipped cushion for newborn whiskers. Soon it will be feeding time, her teats tell her so, engorged with life. In fields beyond, the bellow of cows soon to give birth. Their calves will be licked to life by maternal instinct, embodied by sandpaper tongues. Lambs bleats through freckled light. The sprint of spring's sunlight stretches cobwebbed leaves. Cubs clamor for comfort. Suckling sounds fill the hollowed oak. The purpled hue of bluebells drooping and bulbous bow gracefully to fox, who stands waiting at the den. His dew-dropped snout lowers to leave a gift, a dead thrush for the nourisher. In the distance, beech tree begins to wail. It weeps as metal claws clamp its bark. Unearthed roots seeking lost soil soar to the sky. The earth groans, lamenting the loss, another of nature's kin obliterated. Blackbird balanced on barbed wire cranes its head to the fury of relentless machines. Its warning song sings, "Run, fox, run." Vixen startles, fox flinches, running now through gorse and brush, 2 cubs apiece in their mouths, whimpering, the roar of developers' machinery crushing their home. They reach the edge of noise, traffic roaring through tarmac on the motorway below. Vixen, panting, rests the cubs down. One calls, rolls down the verge. Vixen bounds below and catches him by the scruff, lays it on the grassy edge, still breathing. A hair's breadth, tail trapped, instinct turns her snout to bite. Crushed, blood mixed with red, her red coat, teeth crack, bolts of pain. The next car churns her head, her pointed ears asphalt, thick, shiny coat flattened, white-tipped tail torn, cub yelps by the roadside. Days pass, she is strewn across the motorway, her skin sticking to every tire. Every morning she is a new shape. Soon she will be nothing, but she will have traveled far within the grooves and treads made of rubber. Red becomes gravel. Elderflowers sway in the dust-strewn hedge. Blackbird sings sadness. Fox sits at the top of the hill, alone. Thank you. And the next piece I'm going to read is a piece that is to be published next month by the Irish Independent newspaper here in Ireland, in the New Irish Writing page. So this piece is called Inside Pocket. I do not wear it now, his coat. Within the oxblood lining, there is an inside pocket, and in it, I hide his voice. I used to slip my fingers in and take it out. Watch the soft palate undulating, enunciating the misshapen words he once gave me. I would hold it up to my ear, hear its bending rhythm, its pace as steady as a shovel slicing earth. I placed it under my nose once, inhaled its sound. Its smell lay somewhere between pipe tobacco and honeysuckle scented rain. But I wanted more. His tone, his fluency, his articulation, to feel the rush of air through his vocal cords, for my voice to become his. So I pushed it into my mouth. It sat there balanced on my tongue for a moment before my throat tickled, then tightened. I tried to swallow, but only stuttered. My mouth gaped open like an unfilled grave before the words let and go plummeted out. Caught for breath, I coughed it up. It landed on the floor, broken. I do not wear it now, his coat. Within the oxblood lining, there is an inside pocket, and in it, I hide his voice, stitched shut. Thank you. And the next piece is also a poem that's going to be featured in the New Irish Writing page. If I hadn't been wearing my helmet when I crashed, toppled off my bicycle, hit my head, if my mind had broken open, this is what might have fallen out. The shadow of a crow on someone's roof, a legless crab turned over by a wave, sheep's wool caught on barbed wire, bladder rack sticking out like a waving spine, a silent sonogram, a row of silver birches standing quiet, the webbed veined lines of a fly's wing, the throat of a dying starling, 10 red umbrellas opening, moths flapping their powder wings, an empty receiving blanket, a row of silver birches standing quiet, the wagging tail of a chained up dog, a fox cub curled up at the side of the road, wrens flaying in clouds of earth dust, insects swimming in the portholes of marooned jellyfish, the stitches on a christening gown, a row of silver birches standing quiet. And the next piece is it's a dream, a recurring dream that I have, and it made it to the second round of the Bridport Poetry Prize, which I was delighted with. So this one is called The Cartographer. The Cartographer. I live between the folds of a map, a faded place name, the surface area of nowhere. Within my horizontal suburbia, I am lost. I cannot navigate the latitudes of sleep. He draws a map for me. I feel the ink from his lifeline seep. He traces a view of infinity. Standing on the precipice of a cliff, staring out to sea, my Friedrich painting, my wanderer, his back to me, a stick in his hand, a fallen branch, a gift from a noble fir, perhaps. I imagine it soaring from the heights with the night flight grace of a Chagall. Under this shell of me, he will draw the lines, a phonetic system of my inner soundings. My cartographer, who could design every wrinkle of a coastline with one slip of finger-pressed pen. Delicate gradation of ink tint making amends for his departure, unfolding the geometrics of what we once had. He will compose a land that I can live in, more, an opening in the clouds to let the demons go. And the next poem is a poem called Mentor, and it's dedicated to a award-winning poet, Afric McGlinchey, also a memoirist. She was my poetry mentor this summer, and this is for her. Mentor for Afric McGlinchey. She measures my poetry with the scissor scythe wings of swifts, piercing sky, cutting through clouds, allowing the lightning crack of rain. She edits my poetry with a falcon dive, swoops in unrelenting, words caught in her claws bleed ink before vanishing. I trust her like no other mentor. I will be barbaric, she says, and I say, please. Feather letters fall on the wing-dipped pleats of verse. Where there is a letting go, there is always something to say. Thank you. And now the rest of my poems, I don't have slides for them. I'm just going to read them as they are. So this next piece is my stab at a sequence poem, and my intention in this piece was to turn a fable on its head. There is some Irish in this one. So for those who are unfamiliar, Colleen Ogue is the young girl, Far Broita is the sick man, and Machtíre and Cú are words for wolves. So this is Inishku, the island of the wolves. Colleen Ogue. The story folds that a young girl grows home between sap and falling leaves. Beneath the wood, the sheltered hood of untold tales. The serial sentence fables maker how youth has caught a glimpse of nature's beauty within a nymph of muted sibilance. She skips her way, done with chores, but shadows furl in the unsaid curls of her bold and bashful wisp of hair. Far Broita. He is there, the sickened soul unwanted by his mother. Brutal and slobber, the pounce of patience blackens his plunder. She doesn't know what hits her, a fallen branch, a picture of how she looked in her christening gown, all laced in possibilities. He took her with a rock to the head and left her aside the water bed where wolves would bend their gently woven heads for inspiration. But the killing of this Colleen Ogue tore up the ground, their every fold of firm foundation. Machtíre. They blew through their wide-eyed plain, a declaration for all wolves they did proclaim, to gather, rush, gush the water as their cushioned pads fiercely tread, to catch the little girl's killer, botch him up with jaw-edged trigger. He runs, of course, wouldn't you? Everyone knows that to live with the wild, you should stare it down, look it right through, but no, with stumbles and staggers, he scatters his ungainly stance. The crows call coward. Egna Inishku. And who is the prey? And who is the caught? And it goes on till we have fought the demons that lay in our heads. The ones that keep us bereft in soft beds of beastly fable talk. And so his death was not so swift. He was carrion feast with fresh blood mixed. They left him melt into the ground. The trees rejoiced in leaf-lit sound. The pack had thought the girl had perished, but up out of her body an apple tree flourished. And within that tree, new buoyant buds fell upon the open earth. And the smell of succulents can be heard for hundreds and hundreds of miles aloud. With heads held high, the wolves do howl through brilliant light of windfall. Father Bio on Lanav Machtíre. Long live the wolf child. Thanks, everyone. This is the second last poem I'm reading tonight, and it's called The Path. The path. That day of the accident, you carried me down this path, running, begging, calling, oh, Jesus, no, Jesus, no. My half-conscious cry was as much for the earth scent of your neck and my new boots in the hedge as for the bicycle wheel and car bumper. Up the gravel path beyond the gate where we used to swing on the buckled bend of its lower frame, I navigate the weight of you, past the spot where I earned my bloodied pebble-dashed knees when I took my first bicycle ride, your hand on my shoulder, lending belief. We carry you up the path, a weighted symmetry between 6 siblings and me, to where the solemn pallbearers stand. Do they practice that look? I cannot let you down until I hear your voice, clear as the gravel beneath my feet. You can let me go now. If I could grip the handlebars of your wheelchair once more, I would take you for a spin to where there is no phantom pain, but returned limbs, even wings, and we would soar far above the glint of steel. And this is the last poem I'll read tonight, and thank you all for listening. This is called The Good Bird Keeper. There is an aviary where I hide all my fine birds, a gilt-edged lock and a cast iron key ensures the safety of worn-out wings. I am the good bird keeper, feed them on husks of shame-ridden seeds, rip pages from books and layer their nests with filthy letters, infested words. Each day I read stories of birds like them, Oscar's nightingale, Ted's crow, Emily's wren. At night I sing them to sleep with bloodshot lullabies, pitched to the tones of grief. But all my birds are sick. Under greenfinch's wings, mold festers like worried ants. Sparrow's foot is damaged from scratching at his rusted perch. Flecks of blood dot falcon's velvet head. Has he forgotten how to dive? And I have tied blackbird's beak shut with string to stifle her constant screaming. It worries me when visitors come to call. I fear what they would see, a curled up creature clinging to the cage, her mouth sprouting ink-stained wings. Thank you.